Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Build Guide. Today we're checking out a Elementalist build for the brand new PvP map Spirit Watch. So if you're unaware of how Spirit Watch works, much like all the other PvP maps, it works on a conquest system, so you have 3 outer nodes. They can all be controlled and they're worth 1 point per second that you control them. This is much the same for every other map. However, the secondary objective of Spirit Watch is an orb. This spawns in the middle of the map, has to be channeled to take control of, and can then be carried to one of the outer nodes to take extra points. It awards 30 points if you take it to a node you control, 15 points if you take it to one you do not. However, if you take it to a node you do not control, you will instantly neutralise that node as well. So there are other options for both different ways of playing with it. It respawns 10 seconds after you've actually taken it to the node and scored the points. This build is specifically designed about getting that orb from the centre to the outer points of the map very quickly, efficiently and safely. There are many builds people are planning to do this at the moment, and everyone's sort of playing around with different ways, but it was well known before the map even came out that Elementalist was probably going to be one of the strongest builds for this. It's very mobile, able to deal with conditions very effectively, has a lot of stability uptime, a lot of invulnerability, that kind of thing. It's a perfect profession for this. So I'll run you through the build now first of all. So weapon wise we've gone with dual daggers. It gives us a number of very important skills. In the fire achievement we get burning speed, which is going to give us some more mobility, pretty much the distance to clear one of the staircases instantly with that skill. Pretty damn useful. Also giving us ring of fire as well, so we can lay these sort of skills down behind us to deal out some damage to anyone chasing us. In the water achievement we get the number 2 skill, which is going to heal us and allies, so that can be used to support someone else if they get the orb, or to heal yourself if you're running with it. Frozen burst, which initiates chilled around you, so if anyone getting on top of you can initiate that and that will slow them down. And a frozen aura as well, which applies chill to anyone who hits you, lasts for 7 seconds and also gives you 10% reduced incoming damage. Hugely important skill there. Anyone focusing you is going to be reduced their cooldown of their skills and their movement speed. That's really important. I also got a heal there on the number 5, which is fairly substantial with the current build we're running. In the lightning achievement again you get a second aura. This one stuns anyone who hits you from melee range. Really again very important. The stun's only very short, but it does make a massive difference if you've got someone like say a burst thief or warrior attacking you. It's a way to instantly mitigate their damage. You also get ride the lightning as well, which has had a bit of a nerf. It had another 5 seconds to the cooldown, but it's still pretty damn useful. Covers a huge distance, and if you can angle it right, this can get you a massive distance toward capping one of the orbs. Updraft is another very important skill. It gives you swiftness. Now swiftness will not trigger while you are actually carrying the orb. It just won't kick in. However, the blowout effect of this can be very useful for knocking people off ledges. In the Earth achievement we get Magnetic Grasp, which is an immobilization, so if someone else does have the orb, this is a good way to catch up to them and get it back off of them. We also get Earthquake, which is a knockdown ability which can be used when you're fleeing from opponents. The Cripple there at number 2 is useful as well, as that creates an AoE cripple to slow opponents down even more. And we also have Churning Earth as well, which is again another cripple. Churning Earth's a bit too long on the channeling ready for this build, but it's still viable. Now heal wise, go 2 options here, either the Glyph or the Signet, depending on what you want to do. It depends how much combat you're really going to be getting into. If you're going to be fighting quite often, the Signet Restoration can be very effective at healing yourself. It gives quite a lot of healing per cast of a skill. However, I do like the Glyph of Eternal Harmony simply because if you trigger it while you're in the Earth achievement, you're going to get that protection buff, which is really useful. Or if you're in the Water achievement, you're going to get more regen uptime, and that's very useful, especially with the amount of healing power this build has. For the utility skills, we've got Mistform, which is pretty much a must-have. I mean, this skill is so powerful. Invulnerability for 3 seconds, and you can move, and it's a stun break. Basically, if you get focused, you trigger in that skill, and you're moving up away from everybody. Next up we've got Armour of Earth. This is going to give you protection and stability. Again, obvious choice for this sort of build. We're going to be carrying stuff, trying to get up to the node. You don't want to be getting CC'd, and that's going to give you the stability to deal with that. Now this next one's an unusual choice that a lot of people won't go with, and they prefer to take their speed boost in a different way. However, the Signet of Air gives you a 25% increase to your movement speed. This is huge. When you're carrying the orb, it slows your movement speed down quite a lot. This counters that very effectively. You can't get swiftness uptime, so there's no other way to counter it other than direct boost to your speed. This works great for it. Basically, you're never ever going to trigger that skill. You're just going to leave it there, sitting there, giving you the speed boost. For the elite skill, we're going with Tornado. So this is again an interesting choice. A lot of people used to run with Tornado and it's become less popular recently. However, it's quite damn useful in this. You would generally get an initial Zerg of both teams rushing the orb at the beginning, normally 4 on 4 or something like that. Tornado can be really useful in this situation to throw the enemy about. It can also be used to actually channel, to actually pick up the orb while in combat, so you can knock everybody back and actually start to channel it. And anyone who tries to get in melee range is going to get knocked back, and you can actually often get the orb while transformed in the Tornado, another very useful trick. So for our rune choices, we've got the superior runes of Earth, giving us increased toughness, 15% longer protection duration, a 25% chance to gain protection for 3 seconds when hit on a 30-second cooldown, and a magnetic aura for 5 seconds when your health falls below 20%. So magnetic aura is a projectile reflection ability, so basically if you're being focused from range and it drops your HP below 20%, it's going to reflect those projectiles back, so that can be pretty important on this map, as range is quite dominant in the way you actually have the angles of the way the map's laid out. Increased toughness, of course, very useful, and increased protection duration is going to make that last a little bit longer, which is also very important. 25% chance to gain protection for 3 seconds, while it doesn't sound like a lot, is going to trigger, obviously, or pretty much as soon as you get into combat, but it's also going to give a bit of a boost really to the build all round. Having extra protection uptime, protection is such a powerful boon, especially when you're being focused, and that's going to make a massive difference. For the sigils, we've got the Sigil of Superior Energy and the Sigil of Superior Life. Life gives us plus 10 healing each time you kill a foe. Now this was a tough choice. It depends how long you're really staying alive. If you find yourself dying often when you're carrying the orb, I wouldn't really go with this. It's going to give you actually plus 50 healing, because that's the way it works in PvP. But if you're lasting quite a while, it's worth going for, because you probably are going to do a little bit of damage here and there and pick up a few assisted kills, which are going to count as a kill and give you some more healing power. So it just depends on what you already want to do there. The Sigil of Superior Energy can go somewhere else if you like, but I do like having the extra endurance, because you actually dodge at full speed, whereas you run at like I think it's about half speed or something like that, or 75% speed, but you actually dodge at full speed, so it's going to give you more dodges, which is of course going to be useful for moving that orb very quickly. And for the amulet choice, we've also gone with the Cleric's Amulet, giving us power, toughness and healing power. Now this is a tough decision really. It doesn't give us a lot of HP, so our HP is very small, only 13.8k, but the increased toughness and healing power do make a massive difference. There has been some nerfs made to the Elementalist bunker build, which is pretty much what this is. This is the bunker build, but we're just making it a little bit, thinking a little bit more about moving with it. It's basically a moving bunker, and this is pretty much the same thing. It's been nerfed a bit back. It's likely to get nerfed harder in the next update. A lot of people are calling for it. It's probably going to happen. But for the moment, this is a pretty solid build, and it probably will still be a reasonable build after the next update anyway. For our traits, let's see what we got here. 0, 0, 20, 30, 20. So 20 points in Earth Magic, giving us gain 1 toughness per level while you're attuned to Earth, so that's obviously going to be useful, giving us 80 toughness when we're in the Earth attunement, and damage foes and cripple them for 3 seconds when attuning to Earth, so that's going to apply the cripple, which is going to slow some people down. Both fairly good minor traits there. Gain Armour of Earth when your health reaches 50%, so this is the one we've got here, this cantrip. Protect yourself with protection and stability. Pretty damn useful, especially if you're getting that when you hit 50%. So we've got a lot of these ones that are going to trigger as our health pool goes down. Bear this in mind, because obviously we're going to be a target of focus, so having these things trigger automatically is definitely very helpful. Secondly, we've got you recover from cripple and immobilize and shield 33% faster. Now this is very important. We've got stability from the Armour of Earth, which is going to help us against direct CC, but that doesn't really affect any of the conditional CC like cripple, immobilize and shield. However, this will, and it'll get us out of them a lot quicker, and it makes a big difference. 30 points in water magic. Regenerate health while attuned to water. Heal allies while attuning to water, and 2% more damage for each boon on you. Don't really worry too much about the last one. You're not going to be dishing out a lot of damage, but having this extra bit of healing does help. Cantrips grant you regeneration and vigour. This took a bit of a nerf. They used to give you 10 seconds and now it only gives you 6. This is one of the things I said about nerfing these bunker elementalists before. But yeah, it's still fairly powerful. 6 seconds of regeneration is useful, and the added vigour is going to mean you can dodge more, and like I said, dodging is at full speed. Cantrips recharge 20% faster, giving these to trigger quicker. Obviously they've got pretty harsh cooldowns, 60 seconds and 72 seconds. You're not going to be able to use them too often, so that does make it a little bit more often than you can use them. And then remove a condition when granting regeneration to yourself or an ally, giving yourself a little bit of condition removal there, as we're going to get quite a bit of regeneration triggering on ourselves when we're using our cantrips and stuff like that. 20 points in the arcane line gives us grant yourself fury for 2 seconds on attunement switch, and attunement bonuses linger for 5 seconds, so that's helpful but not too important. Create an arcane shield when your health reaches 25%. Again, another one of these ones that's going to trigger as our health drops down. So let's just find the stats on the arcane shield for you all. Here we go. The arcane shield blocks attacks with an energy shield. If it blocks 3 attacks, it explodes. So it's on a cooldown, internal cooldown. I think it is about 60 seconds or 90 seconds. I'm not entirely sure. But there is definitely an internal cooldown, and it's probably 90 seconds, looking at that being 75. But all these sort of ones that are triggering as our health drops down are going to help us, especially in that initial rush, which is one of the ones where everyone's really focused in on the actual combat of the actual bringing down the orb carrier. They're all going to trigger and really help us stay alive for a bit longer. Attunement bonus is linger for 5 seconds, we've already covered, and then when attuned to an element, you and nearby allies gain might, regeneration, swiftness, or protection. So yeah, it's basically, we're wanting that ready for the earth for protection and water for more regeneration. That regeneration is of course going to cure conditions as well, giving ourselves some more condition removal. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty much a double dagger bunker build, slight variations here and there, not massive. Getting the signet of air I think is definitely a big bonus. So the other options people do run with, just to cover them if you are interested, there's this one here that moves you 15% faster while wielding a dagger, so that does help. And then there's also one I believe up here somewhere. You move 5% faster every 10 seconds you're attuned to air. However, this means you're going to be stuck in air. It caps out at 25%, but it's not all that great really. You also get this one here that moves 10% faster while attuned to air. Now, these do not stack. All these sort of effects will not stack. They won't stack with the actual signet of air. They won't stack with each other. They do not stack at all. They will only ever count the largest one. So if you've got the signet of air, there's no point in going with these other ones. If you do want to swap this out for something else, I would probably recommend taking the dagger one down here, then putting points into the air magic line. It's not really needed too much. You don't need the precision. You don't need the critical damage. And the 15% is going to probably be more useful. You will, of course, if you put 10 points in here, get 15% while you're in the lightning attunement, but you're not going to get it the rest of the time. So that's the way to go if you do want to swap out your signet of air for something else. So this video is just going to show you an initial encounter at the start of a match, us using Tornado and a quick orb run up towards Wolf. So we're heading down with the rest of our teammates towards this. We cut across here to try and intercept them, popping our Tornado skill and then trying to intercept them before they actually start doing any real damage, so they can't get off any burst rotations on our teammates and that kind of thing, start throwing them about a little bit, causing them some trouble. Tornado is really useful at the start of this match, I find. Everyone's quite grouped up over this point. There's a lot of walls and stuff people get impacted on. It's quite an interesting ability to use at the start right there. So we have to drop out of it there and start recovering our teammates to get them back up on their feet. We don't want to lose anybody. We try to make a grab on the orb now, but when you're taking any form of damage, it won't channel at all, and there's no way to mitigate that. There's no way to bug it at the moment or anything like that, as far as I'm aware anyway. But we managed to get the orb out that time. Our teammates covering us very well, and use our flame number 3 skill to move ourselves up towards the staircase and get out of the fray. So you can see here our teammates are covering our back. They're watching, they're keeping everyone trapped down there, using their immobilization skills, stunts, all that kind of thing to keep them busy, or we run up towards Wolf. Ride the lightning there, you can see the huge distance that covers. It's what makes Elementalist so fast at running the orb. So this clip's in the same match, and we're just heading back down towards the orb to try and make a cap on it. Hopefully our teammates can secure Wolf behind us, so we can actually bring the orb back and get a full point score. You can see we're massively losing at the moment. Not many of our teammates are really focusing on actually getting the orb, and the other team are doing a much better job of controlling it. Using Tornado yet again, pushing them all about. And here's a nice little trick in a moment. You can actually channel the orb while in Tornado. More players will actually notice you channeling it and stuff like that, and you can actually get the orb out like this and make a run for it. It looks like our teammates are struggling back at Wolf, so we're just going to go up to Raven to secure that, and it'll also neutralise the point as soon as we get on it as well. You can see the mobility we've got using our skills there to actually move around the map very quickly. It makes it very difficult for anyone to chase us down. Switching to water attunement in case we got focused, and we instantly neutralise that point and get 15 points for our team. Obviously if we take it to one of our own control points it would have been worth more, we would have got 30 points, but we do get a neutralisation, and it looks like we're going to get a cap on it as well. So this next clip's just a few moments later, and we're coming back to try and make another orb run. A bit of a skirmish going on down here around the orb at the moment. We come down and try and grab it, and we get interrupted by that necromancer. There's no chance of actually grabbing hold of that orb. We start getting focused heavily, so we have to misform and use our heal to get us HP back up. Your water attunement there, chilling and slowing him down so we can't escape. and we assist our teammates in getting the quick putting into downstate there. Now, while they're all distracted, we quickly run back, grab the orb. This is always a key point. When no one's looking at you, you can quickly grab it. Even if you are in the middle of a team fight going on behind you, your role is to grab that orb and get the hell out of there as fast as possible. Again, using Ride the Lightning there to get some serious distance on our enemy. Back up the stairs, our fire jumps back off cooldown, so we can use that to move up the staircase. You see it there covering the whole length of the stairs and getting ourselves back up. Again though, we only get the 15 points in the neutralisation for it. The rest of our team were unable to really control the nodes in this game. It was really disappointing. We made some really good runs with the orb, it was really easy to do, but the blue team were just dominating on controlling the nodes, and the red team just weren't actually focused on even controlling one. They were all over the place trying to do too many things at once. With this sort of map, you really want to be focusing on just two points at max and running the orb as much as possible. You could probably even still take a victory actually by just running the orb and actually just controlling one node at a time. So there's not really a great deal more I can say about this build. I find it one of the best ones for actually running the orb. We are going to have a video in the future, possibly next week, looking at countering orb runners. So we're actually going to have a specific build built around shutting down orb runners using immobilizations and CC and stuff like that to actually make it so we can actually shut someone down very quickly, actually finishing off orb carriers like this Elementalist build that will become very popular in the weeks to come. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to leave us some feedback below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, comment, and you can also check us out on Twitter. The link is in the description below. Thank you all very much.